So I've had a very interesting time over the last week talking to all but one actually of the students who are due to do the Musical Theatre Collaborative project and trying to work out what the best kind of way into the music is. The decision to use extant music is clearly a good one just in terms of logistics, but to try and turn that into a virtue rather than a necessity, I've gone through a few genres and thought about them and have kind of landed broadly on how we might use folk music. And of course, the more I look into it, the more I realise that folk music is more than people with their fingers in their ears singing about how good the old light bulb was. Actually, there are several features of it that I think are really interesting and will be good to explore as a kind of laboratory for finding out really how music works to tell stories. I was going to say on stage, but of course this is an online musical, but as part of an online event to give it theatricality. The first thing that occurred to me is one of the great things about folk music is it's not dominated by love songs. Pretty much every popular genre is dominated by love songs, and in some ways that means you have to kind of filter through it to find the nuggets. So if you look at something like soul music, of course there's some amazing songs like Respect and A Change Is Gonna Come, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay and so on, that are dancing in the street, that say more than I love you, you love me, you've left me and all that. But folk music, I think, connects so much to a wide variety of textures. There are so many story songs, of course, so you think about how they might be used theatrically, and the story songs are sometimes in character voices. Sometimes they could be seen to be landscape. There are obviously songs of celebration, songs about our identity, lullabies, songs with a purpose. There are dance tunes, songs of celebration. And there's also sort of intrinsic to folk music is the oral tradition, the sense that ownership belongs to the next person in the chain. And I think that's really interesting, and hopefully my students will be able to, my fellow artists will be able to take and own the structures and make them their own and rewrite them and mess about with them and we'll find our own arrangements and things that work theatrically. I guess the other thing that was interesting to me, one of the other things that was interesting to me about folk music is, of course, it comes from every tradition. And it's easy on the face of it to see this group of students as being sort of cut from one particular demographic. That's not true. They're all young, which is something, I don't think there's anybody who I would call particularly a mature student. I don't think there's anybody older than their mid-20s. There may be, but I haven't spotted it. So that's what unifies them. They are a mix of genders, mostly female, but they also, their family backgrounds are so different. And we have two Hong Kong Chinese students, we have one student with a kind of New Zealand background, we have one student with a Northern Irish background, we have a Black British student from East London who is mixed race, I think, mixed heritage. We have Colombian background from one of the students, we have Greek Cypriot student and so on. So Swiss student with a kind of Italian inflection. So in fact, when I was talking to the Swiss student, talking about folk songs, I mentioned Bella Ciao, which she knows. Maybe the other students don't know it. So I think there's something about having them look at the songs that are important to their folk traditions, their cultural backgrounds, and to use the broadest interpretation of folk. And then the last thing that I thought was interesting was, I'm not sure there's been an experiment, and I'll have to look this up in the scholarly literature, but I'm not sure there's been a look at how the interface creatively in terms of process as well as product, as well as the show itself, the writing of the show, of how the relationship between the folk tradition and musical theatre. There's clearly things that I've seen recently which touch on that, Come From Away, springs to mind, Girl from the North Country springs to mind, and of course the blues is a folk tradition that has been taken and adapted in different forms in musical theatre. But I wonder about in the show's dramaturgy, so in terms of what the function of song is, telling a story on stage or on a virtual stage, that relationship interests me with where the folk tradition comes from, which is, of course, and I haven't said this, but of course it's obvious, it's outsider voices, but majority voices. It's voices of the people, and it has a role in everyday lives of people. So I didn't even mention the work songs, the funeral songs, the birth songs. So this may be where we are, that when we're looking at a narrative, we just say, well, what are, maybe that somewhere there must be a taxonomy of the folk tradition and what the different songs do, and that must be dug out too. I've got a few books that I'm reading and I'll pass on to students. So, really interesting area for research in terms of the dramaturgy of the show.